Hey guys, little night shave here, as I used to do on a pretty regular basis. We're in the Boarathon, and this is the 20th use of this, the 1800 by Semogue. Nice little brush. I've had it soaking for several minutes now. This is a 1934 Aristocrat. This was the first twist to open razor that was mass produced. And it's I've shaved with it once and it was a nice shave, so that's pretty cool. I also will be showing you this. It's near twin. This is the 1936 model. That was the second one to come out. Bought this on eBay. Guy told me it was a 34, and at the time I didn't know how to tell them apart, and so I'm going to make a separate video on how to tell these guys apart. And we'll put that out there as well so that we get as much documentation as we can in the hands of the public. I'm going to throw this Gillette Silver Blue in the razor, and as you can see, it's fairly newish, just 2 uses. And today I'm going to try a Black Friday deal, Declaration Grooming Icarus base. This is not the current milk steak base, but the one before that, which is Icarus. And taxes, and I believe this is a scent inspired by Dior Sauvage, and I believe because they were pointing to maybe Johnny Depp and his advertisements and things like that, so I believe that's where this guy comes from. Sure does smell nice to me in the dry puck form. People were complaining about Icarus base and how maybe it was a little harder to lather or anything like that. I've never had a problem with it, so it must just be that my style works with it pretty well. And other guys, maybe they don't like to lather it as long or something like that. Who knows? I'm going to go ahead and put a little water on it because the actual maker said try putting water on it occasionally and see if you like that. Usually with a non-hard soap, because this is a crope, you can press your finger in it, make a dent. Usually it's not good to bloom it for very long. Bloom those for very long, and blooming means just putting some water on it prior to the shave. Usually that can, some makers have said that it's detrimental to the soap. It changes the soap's composition before the shave. Some people like to bloom for 10-15 minutes while they're in the shower. I think that's the level of blooming that people are talking about. Some of the makers stand against with that kind of length of time. If it's just a few seconds before the shave, you're probably fine. But this one was recommended to be bloomed by the maker, Scott Stewart of Declaration Grooming. All right, so here is what the silver blue looks like in case you haven't used one of those before. It's a blade that usually does very well for me in pretty much all my razors. And as most twist opens are, you can just drop the blade in there and tighten it down. Let's do a quick look at the two. You can see the razor head size. See if I can align them properly there. See, one is obviously bigger, fatter, taller than the other. This is the 36, this is the 34. Also, look at the little rivets. This one actually looks more like rivets or grommets or something like that, whereas this one is more like little posts. That's something else. Now, thanks to, I think it was Badger and Blade website or something like that, I also learned, that's where I learned about the height difference. But I also learned, here's the 36. You can see the roundness right here. And it's actually, there's a cover. You turn it slightly. There's a little cover. You can actually see that cover on this back one a little easier. There's a cover for that round thing. And then inside you've got the round grommet or whatever. Okay, but contrast that with what you see here. and you don't see, I don't want to drop them. You don't see the round thing at all when you look at it across the center and underneath. You actually see this there's a diagonal line right there. You don't see anything round at all. And so if you're looking for one of these on eBay, try to look for those types of things. I will, when I do my video showing the differences, these same things that I'm showing you now, I'll get my calipers out and measure the height. And that might be something that can be helpful too. But it sure is easy to tell them apart when they're side by side. One is just obviously thicker, taller than the other. You can try to look at how exposed that center stuff is right there. You can see a lot more of it. It's like this, a little taller than the actual bars, the arms themselves. Whereas here, it might not be. I have shaved with this one, and it shaved real nice. And this one's the same. I'll have to do a comparison sometime to see if I can detect any difference in the shave. You would think there might be if there's a change in the arc of the blade. All right, splash some water on my face. We have a longer than 1 day's worth of growth today, so we'll be cutting down some stuff. All right, I've got a little crick in my throat. I'll try to keep myself hydrated. All right, so we've got the water on my face. That's intended to help the hair to start to soften a little bit. Easier, better cutting is the hope. So I'm going to pour off the bloom water. Sure, that wastes a tiny bit of soap, but I'm fine with that. Shake most of the water out of the brush here. And let's just do a simple 30-second load. It's got a nice, the scent is coming up to my nose even right now. So that is 10 seconds. Probably don't need 30-second load, 20 seconds. Just moderate pressure, not a lot. And there we go. Looks pretty good. But can't really judge it right now anyway. Now you've got the drippies coming down. And so I'm going to turn the tub upside down, wash that away, clear away the threads of the tub so that we don't get soap buildup, which can then make it difficult to unscrew the cap later on. And then some people like to leave this open for 24 hours to let it dry. I'm not those people. Some people like to cap it up immediately. I'm not those people either. I'll let it sit over here for about half an hour while I do my shave, then I cap it up. Kind of a happy medium. All right, so we're going to take the 1800. Let's read just a little bit about the 1800. It is, it's similar to the Semogue 620, which is a shorter handled version, and I think it has the lucite handle. And so that's a nice one for a long-term brush or a face latherer because of that lucite. But I found that lucite handle with a couple of razors to just be so slippery when bowl lathering. So I got these longer wood handles. And it is using the extra grade hair, which is the, it's not the special or the premium, but it's the next one to those guys. And then it also brings in a little bit of the premium hair, or some premium hair. I don't know exactly how much. So extra plus premium. They're taking the, maybe a little bit of the stiffness of the extra grade hair. Now the extra will still have those tips split and be soft for you. But then the premium grade hairs in there in the mix help to also increase that softness too. So some people might really enjoy the fact that the 1800 is kind of a bridge brush that has aspects of two different styles. So I mixed this a little bit without adding any water, and just to look at it. Now I'll take, and I forgot to look at my formulation to kind of give myself a shortcut as to how much water I'll probably be adding. It's just a ballpark. Any shave I've done in the past with this base, may or may not be the same water. A lot of times it depends on the brush. So we'll start with 1.5 teaspoons. I was talking online today in one of the forums, a guy named Raiden, and shout out to you, man. He's been watching for a while, and he actually posted one of my videos about using the syringe, and I made some kind of comment, and he said, "Is that you?" So how you doing, man? If you're watching, hope you're all right. Man, such a good lather. I've got a nice cologne scent coming up to my nose right now. I know that I'm going to be using an unscented balm after this shave so that I can see if I can enjoy this scent for a little longer. 2 teaspoons in it now. It's a pretty lather. Got a nice shine to it. Yeah, it's a nice creamy texture. It doesn't have those kind of micro bubbles that some of the bases have. It's just a nicer look to me, and a creamier feel. If you don't have those little micro bubbles, I think you can still get a pretty good shave depending on the individual soap. So the presence of such little bubbles is not necessarily a bad thing. This lather's looking pretty good. Bring it all down to the bottom. I'm not looking at a huge amount of quantity of the lather here, but that's a nice drop there. Nice long peaks, good stretch to it. Let's add 1/2 teaspoon more. So this is 3.5 teaspoons of water. Let me realign you. You don't need to look at my forehead. And then I don't have to hold the lather bowl up quite as high. I pretty much always record my shaves. I don't edit them, and so there's no post-processing. I just post them online. I don't add any nice graphics in the front or anything like that. And so I just kind of always record, and so I'm always holding my lather bowl up higher than most guys do when they shave. One day I shaved without recording, and it felt weird to hold my lather bowl down lower. It was more comfortable in some ways, but it was so strange. So this lather just continues to look terrific even as I keep adding water. And now look, we've got more quantity, nice long stretch there, some elasticity. Let's try to shave with this because I can always add a little bit more water if I need to. Of course, you can always take your brush back to the soap, but it's just easier to add water, I find, than to add soap. All right, water on my face again. Let's see what we get. Now, 3.5 teaspoons of water is not a small amount of water. Kind of average. And so we might not need to add any more. It's a nice soft brush. As a part of this Boarathon that I'm calling it, I've got about 7 or so brushes, Boar brushes, that I'm using all in turn, so they all have the same number of uses on them. 20th use now, so that I can watch them all grow kind of at the same time. This one I can feel that it's not a bunch of premium bristles. I can feel that it's some of those extra grade, but it's not scritchy at all, not scratchy, just kind of a massage feel. And you know that this is going to be even better when the tips really start to break, and when it starts to break in and the tips really start to split. This will be a nice brush. Boars, in case you don't know, do really, really change a lot over time. Almost always. As the tips split, as the bloom opens up, then you can really enjoy it more. More soap will fit in it. The blooming happens usually somewhat quickly. And it's just those tips splitting and to make it more soft feel on the face. That can take a year, 2 years. I've even heard of some Omegas going like 4 years of uses. All right, so now we've got the blade is loaded. This is the 34. Lather feels good on my face. This is definitely a wet version. I'm about to bring out my Nasset that's been used about 205 times. Yeah, this is a wet lather. I wonder if this has a good geometry to make use of that blade. Still have it be comfortable. My timeless open comb, 68 gap, is right now the best razor to use with that old Nasset. There we go. You can feel the kind of residual slickness on my face. Good stuff. I could have used just a little bit more slickness on that. Maybe I think I wet the lather a little bit too much. So let me rinse. Cold water. And then I'm going to go to the tub here, take my brush, and I'm going to put a little bit of water, because even though I'm going to be adding some soap to the mix, I usually need to add just a little bit of water with that too. Okay, just a few seconds is all that's needed for the most part. And I'm going to just jump into the bowl here. And go right to my face. Hopefully it's just a little creamier. Yeah, looks like it. Now this time I took the newly soapy brush and went right into the bowl with it. And that does transfer some of that new soap into the rest of the lather. You can also do it the other way around, where you put some of the weak lather, the wet lather, on your face. And then you go to the soap tub, a few seconds of loading, and then just go right to your face. And then you know that that extra soap is going right here. So you can play around with whichever way, you know, you think works better for you. And this has definitely thickened up my lather. I think we're in good shape. Cross grain now. Nice shave. It definitely has some feel to it. Some blade feel. Be interesting to see if maybe the 36 was changed a little bit to reduce that. Now, before this kind of razor, guys had to use 3-piece or 2-piece razors, where they unscrewed like the top cap, and then they had the base plate that comes out as well, and the handle was separate, like with the old types, the news and things like that. And so people were used to some blade feel, because those razors definitely had some of that. Some of those old types and stuff were a little on the rough side, because people were used to a rough feeling, because they were just years before that going to the barber to get their shaves. So they were used to a straight razor. So maybe if it was, I bet, as they planned the razors, the geometry, they might have set them a little bit more aggressive, because otherwise, if it was too smooth, a person might not have felt like they were getting a proper shave. Rinse now. All right, now we've done 2 passes. Let's think about the scent. It's not super strong. You definitely get it when you stick your nose in the bowl. Let's see how I notice it once it's applied. And by the way, that little few extra turns in the puck was perfect. I felt this excellent slickness as I did my rinse just now, and that's where I want it to be. A little too much water. Maybe 2.5 teaspoons next time, or maybe 3. 2.5 might be a good place to start. Was 30-second loading a good idea? I think so. Got probably a couple of passes in the bowl, but it's nice to have a little extra. It just makes the mixing a little easier. And this feels slick and excellent on my face. And the lather itself just looks tremendous. This is a Black Friday deal. I got a really nice price on this. And I guess just because it's the Icarus base and they're going to be phasing that out, you know, and I bet the taxes, you know, scent just isn't quite as popular as some of his others that are probably still in Icarus and going to sell, you know. And so that's probably why it was on Black Friday deal. But I'm really enjoying it. It's lightly available right now in terms of scent strength. If I stir up the air, I can kind of smell it more. So it's not going to be in your face. It's not arrogant and obnoxious. It's an easygoing scent. I can see myself enjoying this pretty well. So how about that? Yeah, typical cologne type of scent. Kind of a sweet, fresh nature to it. You can read the scent notes online for Dior Sauvage. Probably get close to it there. All right, so let us do another cross grain run on my face. The first pass had a little razor feel to it, but nothing, you know, like irritation or, you know, too aggressive or anything like that. Yeah, we've got nice slickness here. I really like the Icarus base. I've got to be careful. I've got some swirls around here. So when you've got those tricky areas, for me, I get irritation if I go against the grain, which means I've got to pay attention to my strokes and stop them at the right time before I hit an area where the grain shifts, you know. And it can just take a while to learn that. So just go slow if you have those kind of things going on. And your muscle memory and all those things will eventually catch up and you'll be able to do it quickly. Yeah, see the slickness on this now is just, it's a nice creamy while still being a wet lather. So that's just tremendous. I've got no problems at all with Icarus. I just enjoy it. I may like it better than Milk Steak. I don't know. It might just fit my style just a little better. The kind of slickness that I like, the kind of feel I like. I might like it better in Icarus. All right, so let's do a little touch up. Little rinse. Yeah, that felt good. Really nice, slick, luxurious. So we have plenty of lather for a little touch up down here. Yeah, oh, big time puff of that scent right there. That's just nice. I'm going to enjoy. And since I'm a night shaver, I'm appreciating the fact that it's not going to sit on me like a cloud of heaviness as I go to sleep. It's a nice light. I'm speaking of light, my strokes here, I'm just purposefully being very, very light and deft across the surface of my skin. If I don't press down enough, that's better than pressing down too much. And I think that is gonna get me. Some people take the extra lather and kind of put it on their face as a conditioner afterwards. I'm not one of those people. Nothing wrong with it, I would guess. I mean, to me it is soap. It is still kind of drying, but I think their point is that they're doing it with a soap that has a lot of skincare features to it, you know, and enjoying that part of it. I certainly would enjoy it in terms of just, let's blast my nose with this scent and savor it for just a little bit longer. It's good for that reason, that's for sure. So it's got named at taxes because if there's one thing that you're sure in life about is death and taxes, things like that. That's kind of where the name came from. And then I think he was just making a play on the maybe the Sauvage commercials or mottos or whatever. And so that's where it came from. And I think it's a bit of a misnomer, and maybe that might have hurt his sales just a little bit. Maybe it was a joke that not as many people got, But man, I'm really enjoying the scent. I could definitely see myself shaving with this on a long-term basis. Very nice. I could even see myself trying to find, like buying the EDT for this, the cologne, Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna have to see if my wife likes this too, because I'm a big fan. So this is how much soap we have left over. Perfect amount, a little bit of margin. Happy with that. Happy with the brush. I like to use the bowls. One of the reasons is after the shave, I can have water running into the bowl, and then this bowl is what helps me to clean out my brushes at the end of the shave. So that's another nice feature about bowl lathering. So I used 3.5 teaspoons of water with this one. But we discovered that was too much, and so I had to go back. So maybe 35 seconds of loading, maybe even 40 seconds of loading was necessary if I had this 3.5 teaspoons of soap. Now, if you do all this in the exact same way, or you can get the same result, maybe not. Depends on your water, the hardness of your water, depends on your brush, the size of your brush, as well as other things like that. So, but the reason I give you these figures is just because it may help some guys who are having big trouble with their lathers to at least get them in a ballpark, because not a lot of guys out there give objective measurements. They just are subjective, and they say I mixed for a while and then I'm putting on some droplets of water or putting on some until it seems right. Well, if you're a new person, you may not quite know when it seems right. All right, I'm going to clean up, be right back. Enjoying this scent a lot. So after a shave with the Boar brush, I clean it out, rinse it out really well, which is easy to do with these small Boar brushes. These dense brushes that are also out take a lot longer to get a good rinse, to get all that soap out. And then I will hold it firmly and put it down into the sink, give it a good shake. That's what I do. I'm not afraid to do that. It's a concern for some people, but I think it's fine. And then it will end up looking like this. So then we have a wet wooden handle. We also have these tips that need to dry. This is a Boar knot. Just for your information, this dyed band right here is dyed. It's not natural. They do that to just make it look like a traditional type of brush, and maybe to be able to tell the different Semogues apart. Because if this band wasn't here, this dark band, then you couldn't tell the 1250 from the 1800. No. We'll dry off the wooden handle. And then just strop it up and down. And I do this whether I'm trying to break in the brush or whether it's already broken in. It doesn't take too much. And if we look around, we can see that there aren't too many split ends. There are some. And so that means that this brush is going to get softer and softer as time goes by. You can do accelerated things. I've heard of people taking bad Boar brushes, putting down in almost boiling water to really accelerate the splitting of the ends. That's aggressive. I wouldn't mind doing that to maybe a cheap brush just to test it out. But one that I've been training now for a while, I don't want to do that. And this is an inexpensive brush. But I don't think I'm interested in going that far quite yet. I mean, especially with a brush that already feels good on my face. Nice massaging action for this one as well. All right, so this is a pretty good little shaver. Not smooth, but I also had more hair growth than usual. But it's a beautiful piece. I'm privileged to have it. We'll keep using it. And you know what I may do is try this same blade in its younger brother and see if I get the same kind of shave, the same feeling. So very cool. Little piece of history. And so I've just got a little bit more cleaning up to do. And like I said, what kind of scent am I getting right now? Now, you shouldn't really expect your soap to provide scent for you for very long after your shave. Maybe 20 minutes. Maybe some soaps 0 minutes. There are some really pungent soaps that can smell for hours after a shave. Usually those are ones I don't like too much. And so you need to depend on your aftershave or your cologne to really be what is around you and what makes you smell good after the shave. So the soap is for you to smell during the shave. The cologne and the aftershave type products are for other people after your shave. All right. You know what? I'm not even going to put on any balm after this. I'm not feeling any tightening in my face. After all, Icarus, one of the goals of it was to provide some post-shave treatment. And I think it's working for me. I've got oily skin anyway, so it's all good there. My skin feels good, so I think it's working in that respect. Let's take a look at the closeness. Oh, nice. My trouble spot's right there in that hollow next to my Adam's apple, and everywhere else in my face usually gets cut really nicely except for that spot. And I don't think I can see any hairs that have any length on them, and that's big for me. So this, that extra razor feel, that extra little aggression there from this razor served to give me a great close cut pretty comfortably. And I like it. I like it. We'll play around with it. And I think I'll be keeping this little piece of history, the first TTO. Pretty amazing to use something from just so far back, 1934. It's nice. Nice little connection with the men and the shavers who've kind of gone before you. All right, well, I'm just loving taxes. I wondered about buying it, but it was at such a good deal I decided to risk it. And I'm glad I did. Really happy that I did. The 1800 working great. It's going to be drying. We'll give it a few days to dry. I've got such a rotation now with these boars that it'll have plenty of time to dry. Those wet and dry cycles are really what helps those tips to split. All right, well, hey, thanks for watching. I hope there's been something here that's helped you out. And this is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Bye.